Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the BombCast. I'm your host, Alicia. And today I have Elaine Lou Cartas joining us. And she is co-author of the book Made for More. And she is a business and career coach with over 100 clients in 21 different countries. And we are so excited to have her on today. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you so much for having me, Alicia.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And I also heard that you are recently a BombBomb customer. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I actually have my little whiteboard that's by me. So yes, I am a BombBomb customer.
I love it. How did you hear about us?
So it came from my business mentor, and I'm very high touch, and I do videos in my own business. So it just made sense. And that's how I heard about it. And I joke around, but I'm like, I don't get tech, even though I look like I should, but I do. I was able to understand it. It was easy for me. So that was great.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely an easy product. It's one of the things that when I'm teaching on it, I'm always trying to convince people, like, I promise you, this is not like a tech heavy, like you have to learn some whole new platform. If you can press a record button, you're going to be fine.
Exactly.
So you took a pretty big leap recently, relatively recently, and jumped into your own business, just went for it, did the big brave move. I'd love to hear just a little bit to kind of ease us into this conversation, what that was like for you and what was the catalyst for getting you to make that leap?
So I'll kind of give a context of it, but I was in my dream job. I hated my job. I actually had my dream job. I was a fundraiser at a local community college that my mom went to school at. And I was a fundraiser. She couldn't finish college when I was young because she had 3 kids under the age of 5. And I'm a crazy child to take care of anyways. And when I got the job, I'm like, oh my God, I'm finishing your dreams. I'm helping other moms finish their college dreams. So I was there, and the catalyst for me, I actually had to apply for my own job because it's a government job. I just turned 30 and I didn't get it. So I lost my job when I just turned 30 and I was 20K in debt. And everyone told me, go find a new job, get unemployment. And I was like, you know what? I really think it's the universe, God, Beyonce, whoever higher being you believe in, that just told me it's time to go all in. And at the time, I was a career coach helping people get raises as well as transition to new careers because that's what I did. I also got my own raises from jumping 12K to 28K all within 1 year and changing careers. And so I just went all in. I know this sounds really corny, but I just had to believe in myself more than anything. And this was in December of 2017 during the holidays. And that was my first 5-digit month. But since then, I've just been soaring, and not going to say it's always been easy. It's a rough road, but now I have about 100 clients in 21 different countries. So, and I will say in terms of products like BombBomb or just, it's the personal touch. It's the relationship building. That's what's really helped my business grow.
Yeah. So what are most of your clients coming to you to help with? Generally when someone goes to a business coach, they're looking for something pretty specific. What do you say is your niche? Where are people most coming to you for?
They just want to get started. So they're like, how did you start? And within 30 minutes, often I could get them their first paying clients. So I have 2 different buckets. It's that, or it's scaling their business to 6 figures. But a lot of them is figuring out how to get started. And for me, I'm showcasing them how they could get started by really understanding nailing your niche and how to communicate with other people and build those relationships. And it's not just build a relationship of, oh my God, this person could be a possible client, but it's even understanding of how to build those relationships with referrals or collaboration community as well.
Yeah. So this idea of finding your niche or, finding that, obviously we don't want to steal all your secrets. However, what is that process like? Because one of the things that we hear so much is, you got to build your brand or you brand yourself or personal branding. But I think a lot of people get lost in that. Like, what does that even mean in a practical sense? So how do you help someone actually nail down what their personal brand is or what their niche is in taking their business to the next level?
Good question. So my question is like, who do you want to work with? I know that sounds really simple, but it's really who do you want to work with and who do you want to serve? So for me, my niche is women of color.
Mm.
And even though that's my niche, it doesn't mean I exclude men or exclude Caucasian women. In fact, I have that. But you need to be seen as an expert to everyone. The example that I love giving to other people is Amazon's a perfect example. If you remember do you remember what Amazon was before it's the titan and empire it was? Do you remember what they were selling before?
It was online books.
It was online books, and they're a perfect example of why they niched and they grew the way they do. So for me, when I'm working with the clients, like, well, who do you want to serve and work with, right? And so I've had clients where it's just the nonprofit sector within the LA area. Maybe it's working mothers. So it really depends for each person, but it's who are you going to enjoy working with and who can you relate to? The relatability factor is really important.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're talking about, serving a customer base, you can't be all things to all people. It would be great if you could, but you certainly cannot be all things to all people. So for you, obviously you do have a very niche, which I would, love to hear you speak to directly, and then a little bit more broadly. But what are some of the obstacles that you have found specifically within, your niche of women of color that you're able to help them with?
It has a lot to do with the cultural and societal norms that we learn. And I'm not blaming anyone or any specific things, but it's just how we grew up.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm a failure, right? To me, it's like, I should have been a doctor. I should have been a nurse. I should have been an engineer. And it's this notion that it's very community and groupthink in terms of you need to do whatever is best for your family. If you even have one thought thinking about putting yourself first, you're really being selfish. And I know, and not just a woman of color thing, but even for women in general, right? We're supposed to put our kids, our partners, our family first before our own dreams. And how dare you because you're so selfish?
Yeah.
But then I get on a call with a mother who wants to work with me, and her goal, and people think it's like, I just want to be first class and have a private jet. And her goal is, I just want to walk my child to school every day. And that's a dream. It's the choice, right? For me, a couple of months ago, my grandma was in the hospital, and just knowing that I could just be at the hospital with her, that's what's important. So the huge block is knowing that when you can put yourself first, you could actually be there for your loved ones at the same time, and you can inspire other people. When I first started, my mom told me, why are you starting? Why are you creating this business? You have a government job, you have pension. If anyone knows what pension is, it's amazing. I had amazing pension. And I'm like, because if I die, I'm going to regret not going after my dreams. And so we were at her home country. I'm a first generation immigrant. We were in Philippines. My mom took me aside and she told me, thank you so much, Elaine. You're finishing my dreams for me. I just didn't know how to get started. And so for me, I know I'm an example for other women of color to relate to, because they're like, oh, if she could do it, I could get started, and I'm still there for my family.
Yeah.
There's this notion you have to choose one over the other, but you could really have both.
Yep.
And I want to mention this too, but this morning, which is just hilarious because I have this show with you right now, my aunt messaged me and said, hey, because I'm a business and career coach, I'm having trouble talking to my employer. Can you help me with this difficult conversation? So knowing that even my personal family is coming to me for advice, and no, I'm not charging her. She's my aunt, just in case any of you are wondering. But mind you, when I started, and even now in this stage of my business, I still get questions from people, right? Where, like, you're probably being a little too much. Or why don't you why don't you just not talk too much? I'm like, you know what? I think that's the whole thing. We're not here to be Miss Popular. We're not here to be liked by everyone.
Mm.
And how I appeal to a lot of my clients is I'm here to serve. And so if I'm here to serve, I'm here to serve a particular group. And there may be other people that may not resonate with me, but I'm not here to serve them.
Yeah. I think that the I'm here to serve really resonates with a lot of our audience too, because a lot of our customers, they're salespeople, except they're not selling a product, they're selling a service.
Yeah.
Right. The real estate agents, the loan officers that we work with people in the title industry. We work with a lot of people in customer service, and yes, they're selling a product, but really when it comes down to it, what they are selling is the fact that they are going to serve their clients well. So it's so much less about product and so much more about relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I mean, that's what I loved about BombBomb as well, or using it, is you're in a video, right? I mean, you're watching both of us right now, and you get to have a feeling of who you are, and not just in terms of business, but who you are in personality.
Yeah.
So on top of BombBomb, I also do Facebook and Instagram lives. And yeah, I talk about my obsession with Target. Like, it shouldn't just always be about business, but people should get to know who you are. And people want to know if they could get along with you.
Yeah. The idea of know, like, and trust, I think we've heard it for so long in sales that it almost has become a buzzword that people kind of like, yeah, know, like, and trust. But this idea of know, really, we've had an opportunity with social media to build this, not even necessarily social proof, but this idea of knowing that we've never really had before. I just heard recently at a conference, a real estate conference from the stage, that consumers have actually said that they would feel comfortable making a real estate transaction with an Instagram influencer. And I think a lot of agents, that idea feels scary to them, like, what, an influencer? But social media has given them an opportunity for everyone to build that kind of know. When it comes to social media, how do you figure out what that balance is between the business focused strategy content versus still being a real human being in that space?
Thank you for asking. That's a really good question for everyone that's watching. And I hope this gives encouragement to people. But I only have 1,800 followers in Instagram, not the 10,000 where I could have to swipe up, and I have a 6-figure business and a global business. I say that all to just really emphasize the relationship building, the personal touch, and your personality. And in today's world where there's more entrepreneurs, your personal brand's really important.
Yeah.
So in terms of balance, is I just give so much value. I give so much value away in my social media. I mean, I do lives every single day. I've been doing it for the past year, and we're in February right now. And then the personal touch. What's really interesting is I get the most engagement with my personality, or just fun little things. And so what I encourage anyone that's listening or watching is think of 2 or 3 things you want people to know outside of your business. So people know me as a Target girl. I'm obsessed with Target. And if you do not love Target, we cannot be friends. So I always put posts about me being in Target and have a Target date with my boyfriend. Second, I put boxing videos. I box. Okay. People want to know that you have a life outside of business. And especially, as you know, as a woman, if you're all about business, you're just not relatable.
Yeah.
And third, my family. You know, I posted a picture of me and my brothers finally having lunch together, and how I love them except when they eat all my food. If anyone has brothers, you understand that. But just, and I will say, like, I had a client who flew from Taiwan to here. She didn't come for me, but she wanted to meet with me. She wasn't a client yet. And I was talking to her, and I was just getting to know her. And she was like, oh yeah, I watched all your videos. I already know that story. I'm like, oh my God. So people are watching. Don't think it's everybody that's liking or commenting. People
Mm,
are watching and they're getting to know you. So when they do end up, and I know BombBomb helps with sales, but it really helps with relationship building.
yes.
So when people get on the phone, it's an easy yes for them because they already know who you are.
Yep. I think it's the number one thing that I have experienced with both BombBomb video and social media. It's the number one thing that I hear other people tell me all the time. We had another guest that said that he loves video because it takes takes the first meeting from a handshake to a hug. The amount of times that I have gotten to experience that in the real world where I've been, corresponding with someone before an event over video, and I show up and they're like, "Oh, Alicia." And they give me a hug because they feel like they already know me even though it's the first time we've actually met. It's powerful.
Yeah, and what I'm doing for those people that have in-person events, like I have an event with 125 people signed up, no ads. And I'm doing little like whiteboards like, "Hey, excited to see you." It's the personal touches.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of explaining this to even my clients, for any coaches out there, even entrepreneurs, but I really feel like the coaching apocalypse is coming. Like this whole evergreen model and automation, it worked really well about 5 or 10 years ago, but because there's so many people now, there's no barrier to entry.
Mm,
We stand out, and standing out is not necessarily like putting like the beautiful gold necklace or the glitz and glam. It's actually the personal touch.
yeah. How do you find the balance between being personal and human on social media, especially when you're focused on building a brand? That's like, because I see that all the time where we people desire the authenticity and they want to see the real people, but then you also know that there is like a strategy, or that people are trying to build something. So for yourself personally, how do you make sure that you don't get caught in the trap of just trying to build a following?
I don't ask myself how I'm going to build a following. I actually ask myself, will this serve my audience?
Mm,
So, for example, yesterday this happened real life. I was able to save $14 on my monthly gym membership. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it on my live. And like, yeah, you know what? You see me traveling all the time doing these speaking engagements, but reality is as an entrepreneur, just human, you need to learn how to save a couple of dollars here and
mm,
there. And that was of value to them.
yeah.
So I just try to think, how can I be real? In fact, I'm drafting a post where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to brag about flying through Southwest because I only spent $100 instead of going first class, spending $800 or $1,000.
Yeah.
That goes to my Target spree. So even putting
Back to Target.
but it's asking yourself, can this provide value to
Mm,
your audience? And the more value, I really believe in good karma as well, not just bad karma, but the more value you provide to your audience, literally people come to me. You give so much free value online. I could only imagine how it is if I pay you.
that is powerful. It's powerful. We believe that there's a phrase, or it's a Gary Vaynerchuk quote that our marketing team has used here, which is the provide value and abundance will follow. When you make sure that you are being of value to people, of course they're going to come to you. There's no question about it in their mind.
And I will share this as well, but there have been people that have copied me, and there will be people that will copy you. The one thing that they cannot copy from you is your personality and personal stories.
I good.
So for you to share more of that makes you unique and stand out. Because
Yeah.
I can share with you how to save $14 a month, but like, who could share a story that I'm bragging about flying Southwest?
Yeah, well, it's that human element over and over and over again. It comes back to that human person. There's an actual person there and not necessarily a brand or an agenda or a strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would love to hear you talk a little bit about this idea of assertiveness and asking for what you want.
Thank you for asking. And I want to give context to people of my past. So I used to work in American politics. Thank God I don't anymore, regardless of what side you're in.
Regardless, yes.
And I used to do fundraising, political fundraising. So I was literally in the trenches. And if you can't tell, like, I'm a young female and I'm a minority. So I call that the triple threat.
Mm.
And I was just, because of how I grew up, and I'm pretty sure not just women of color, but all women could probably relate to this. Growing up, I was used to doing whatever the authority figure, my father, would tell me to do. So when I got into the workforce, that's what I thought I had to do as well. Listen to whatever my boss says and I'll do it, and A+, right? Or I just get the money in the bank. But then I started questioning things and seeing, I was bullied, whether it was the former boss or coworkers, and I was like, I should be getting paid more. And I started questioning things. And so I've learned to always, when there's difficult conversations, first off, never do it on phone, email, or with a group of people in a group meeting. It's always having that conversation one-to-one. So even other women, they could be really brutal to you, but they don't even realize it. But I remember having one female tell me and compliment me, saying, "Good girl, Elaine." And it made me feel like a dog. Mm-hmm. And so I could have easily be passive aggressive. Hey, I hate it when you say that. But instead I approached her one-to-one. So I use iMessages. I just want to let you know I'm really excited that we're working together. So I use something called a thank you sandwich. So for your listeners or viewers, use this. So I start off a compliment. I said, "Thank you so much. I love working with you." While at the same time, so don't use the word but, use while at the same time, I want you to know it makes me feel uncomfortable when you say "good girl" to me. Mm-hmm. I would really appreciate if you stop. What are your thoughts? So you let them know what makes you feel uncomfortable, and then involve them in the conversation by asking them that question.
Yeah.
So I've used that, and then I'll just give a tip on how to ask for raises. So those
please,
for those that want to ask for raises. So just I jumped from 60 to 72K to 98K working my 9-to-5 job. What I did was I looked, so whatever position you have, do your research on Indeed, Glassdoor, Salary.com, on other competitors, right? Print that out. So print a memo. So pretend you're creating a project for yourself about you, right? Mm. And then I tell my clients, write a brag sheet memo. So all the things you've accomplished, bullet point it, but put numbers. So don't just say, "I'm a great employee," but I've been able to manage a portfolio from 50 to now 100. I've increased sales by X%. The more numbers, the better. And then when you have a one-to-one meeting with whoever your direct supervisor is, you do the thank you sandwich again. "Thank you. I'm so grateful. I've been able to work here for the past 6 years. While at the same time, I firmly believe I deserve an X raise because I've grown the company by doing A, B, and C. What are your thoughts? I've also put a memo together of everything I've accomplished. Here you go." And then the hardest thing to do is zip your mouth. Don't say anything.
So how long are you supposed to wait?
They'll respond. I mean, they'll process it, but it's just waiting for that. And another thing, I mean, I know I'm talking about salaries and difficult conversations, but all of us have gone through this before. But I remember I had a coworker who was emailing back and forth. I'm like, we sit next to each other. My office is next door. Why don't you just talk to me? And so I just got up and I said, "Hey, John," I'm just giving a fake name. "John, I just think is there anything that I could do to better communicate with you? Because I know we're emailing back and forth, but am I miscommunicating anything? I just want to make sure I'm supportive to you so we could move forward in this deadline." So if you notice, it had nothing to do with probably their passive aggressive comment. It's seeing if there's anything you need to communicate more clearly. So I always do it kind of about them and how you could communicate better, and then remind them holistically what the goal is. We have a deadline. This is not even about me. It's not about you. put the ego aside. We have a deadline to put together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great. Those are really, really helpful ideas for our audience. I know they'll really appreciate that. I know we touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but what are some of, you talked about the connection to family and women feeling like they have to, make sure they're taking care of their family first. But what are some of the other obstacles that you see someone, the small business owner, the person that's kind of building their own business? What are some of the other obstacles that you see that they need to overcome early on to really grow their business to the next level?
Good question. There's the money mindset, right? I don't have enough money. And people are scared to invest in themselves. And I always kind of give this example. If there was a big wound cut on my arm or something, I want the best doctor to heal me, who is trained and went to med school. So what I kind of give a reminder to people is when you invest in your own business, whether it's a business coach, whether it's getting a bricks and mortar store, it just allows you to propel forward. And it's really asking yourself, do you believe in yourself? It's not even a money question. When I hear the money blocks, the real question is, do you believe in yourself that you could create this dream?
Yeah. Do you believe in your own value that you have to bring to your clients?
Yeah. And if you are given the right steps and strategies, do you really believe you can execute it? Because what I'm hearing is it's not that you don't have the money, because I'll be transparent. I put a lot of stuff on my credit card when I first started and it was believing in myself. So it's the mindset. And two, there's this idea of security, right? But I don't really believe in it because I thought I was going to stay at my dream job forever. Like I thought going to college, I was set for life. And as you grow older, which I'm sure, like this is not even a female or male thing, this is for everyone. Now the question comes to, am I really fulfilled? And you need to be courageous enough and answer that question, one, two, and do something about it. So in my past life, like when I did have the jobs, like, you know what, I'm happy, but I deserve to get a raise. So I did it and I asked for it. What's really interesting is a lot of my clients, they end up getting the raise and then they tell me, I don't want to work here anymore. So they end up getting the money because they thought getting the money would make them happy, but it wasn't. They're just not fulfilled. And we end up actually starting their own business or they move into a new career.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
That is fascinating. Well, I think that a lot of times if you don't really know where the dissatisfaction is coming from, it's easy to question. It's easy to make it about the money, right? If you know that you're not feeling fulfilled at your work, the easiest to go to is, oh, maybe I'm not making enough money. Maybe if I made more money, it would feel better.
Yeah. I mean, I jumped to 38K and it wasn't the money for me. I mean, I paid off my student loans. I was really grateful for it, but I realized I meant for more.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, is listening to yourself, because you could drink as much alcohol as you want. You could talk to a lot of your friends, but deep down inside, you know the answer.
Well, I think that the listening to yourself is such an important piece of both being comfortable and putting yourself out there and trying something new and getting on social media, in being more assertive and asking for a raise and all of that. I do think that we get so distracted by all of the noise that we have stopped listening to the voice inside of ourselves, which is really, that's where the truth lies. I'd love to hear just your thoughts on video in business and on social media, and what role you think that plays, and specifically what role you feel like that's played for you in helping you grow your business.
So prior to me having my business, I hated social media. I'm like, why does this exist? And I love it. It's free media, right? It's allowing me to express myself, like freedom of speech, and having the best relationships with people online as well. So it allows me to not necessarily market about my business, but like I was talking about earlier, it's not just marketing your business. You have to market your personal brand as well.
Mm. Yeah, I heard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And also another thing, I didn't even realize I was creative. Like, I didn't realize I was a great writer. I didn't realize I was hilarious, this is what all my listeners are saying. So I seem like I'm cocky by saying all this. And the reality is because I was stuck in a 9-to-5 job in a box where I did certain things, and social media just allows me to be creative.
That's amazing. Well, it gives you an opportunity to engage the other parts of you and not the parts that someone else thinks is valuable. You know, when you're at a job in a specific role, someone else is dictating, you know, what you're supposed to do, and you've just had the floodgates opened up now.
I know. And another thing is, I want to explain this to your listeners and viewers, is that I see social media for what it is. It's called social media, to be social. And so many people think you put a post out there and you'll just get so many people who want to work with you. And that's not how it works. Like, yeah, I'll put a post out there, but my DMs are crazy. Like, my inbox is flooding on Facebook, on Instagram, on my emails, because I'm constantly building relationships with people. So a little tip for your audience members who want to understand how to use social media to build relationships, because that's how it is I'll put a post. For example, one of my best posts was me doing a little video of how I was the only woman of color at the table, and how many people have ever felt that situation where you're probably the only woman at the table and it's all men and it makes you feel uncomfortable. That's a really great pain point. And I followed up with people because people were liking and commenting, like, thank you so much, Alicia, for liking my post on how I'm the only woman at the table. How does it resonate with you? Like, oh my God, that resonated with me because I've gone through A, B, and C. And I just connected with them in a human level. Just so you know, in my post, there was no call to action. And for those that don't know what a call to action is, usually a call to action is, hey, like the post, or, you know, sign up for a free call with me. I didn't even have a free call. I was like, I want to know, how does this relate to you? I ended up making 30K with that post. Not because I just posted it. It's because I followed up with people and built relationships. And that's what people are forgetting what social media is. It's about building relationships. And sure, that turned into money for me, but I really believe when you focus on the impact, income becomes a positive side effect.
Absolutely. I feel like that is the perfect place to wrap up. I know the building relationships piece is something that we focus on over and over and over again, because when we build relationships, our business grows, and you cannot do that in a fake way. It has to be because you are invested in the people, and you want to see them be successful and you want to bring them value. So wonderful tip on growing through social media there at the end. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, Elaine. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on, and to hear your thoughts on business, and, you know, selfishly for myself, especially women in business. So thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to thank this service, because I've been able to use BombBomb. I just get my little whiteboard and just do videos, and I get to know people, and I've just received so many compliments. Oh my God, that was so great. I love the person so much. It's just another arm for me, and really helps me continue to be more personable, especially since there's so much automation. And I tell people this, like, it's about the transformational relationships, not the transactional.
Great.
People could tell on video.
Of course they can. Of course they can. You can't hide behind fakeness when you're on video. It comes through. I'm so glad that you love the product. One of my favorite things about my job, especially now as I get to travel and meet so many people, is hearing people's success stories, because I'm a high touch connection person too. I'm not a transactional person. And so yeah, I have a job to do here, but when I get to hear that it's actually affecting people's businesses, it gets me so jazzed to go out and do more of it. So Thank you. We're so grateful to have you on board as a customer. Thank you for your time. Really, really nice meeting you today.